All right, let's talk about gratitude. We all kind of know it's good for us, right? But what if I told you that the way most of us do it, making a list of things we're thankful for, is, scientifically speaking, just not that effective? Today, we're going to bust that myth and get into a scientifically proven method that can genuinely rewire your brain for a healthier, happier life. Okay, let's get into it.
So let me ask you this straight up. You might be keeping a journal. Maybe you list 3 things before bed. But is it really working? Is it actually changing how you feel day to day, making a real, measurable difference? Well, the science suggests maybe not as much as you'd hope.
And here's the thing. The power of gratitude is absolutely real. Don't get me wrong. But the most common approach has a pretty big flaw. Thanks to neuroimaging, where we can literally watch the brain in action, we now have some pretty surprising data about what works and what, well, doesn't.
So here's the disconnect. The common belief is that just listing things out is the way to go. It feels right, it makes logical sense. But the scientific finding is pretty clear. That method just doesn't create a strong enough signal to really activate the important brain circuits for well-being. You can't just think your way to being grateful and expect your brain to change. It needs a bigger jolt.
To really get why that is, we need to quickly look at how our brains are wired. The best way to picture it is like a seesaw. You've got 2 competing sets of circuits that are constantly trying to balance each other out. And understanding this seesaw is the key to everything.
So on one side of this seesaw, you have your pro-social circuits. Think of these as your lean-in circuits. They're the networks that make us want to connect with people, to seek out good experiences, and to engage with the world. They are literally the wiring for well-being.
And on the other side? Well, you've got the defensive circuits. When this side of the seesaw is up, we feel fear, anxiety, that urge to pull back and protect ourselves. These circuits are super important for survival, but when they're running the show too often, they dominate our entire experience.
Now here's the most important part. These 2 systems can't both be highly active at the same time. It's one or the other. When you fire up those pro-social circuits, that feeling of connection and motivation, you automatically and literally quiet down the anxious defensive side. You are physically tipping the balance in your own brain.
This is exactly how a proper, effective gratitude practice works. It's like a powerful lever on that seesaw. It floods the brain with the neuromodulator serotonin, which lights up those pro-social networks, especially in a part of the brain called the medial prefrontal cortex. That's the area that gives meaning to our experiences. And if you do it enough, you can actually change your brain's default state, permanently tilting that seesaw toward a more positive, engaged baseline.
Okay, so if listing stuff doesn't really tip the seesaw, what does? Well, the answer is so powerful, and for most of us it feels completely backward. It turns out the biggest trigger for the brain's gratitude network isn't about giving thanks at all. Let that one sink in for a second. The science points again and again to this one core idea. The feeling of receiving genuine gratitude is what truly lights up our brain's pro-social circuits. It's way, way more impactful than the act of giving thanks yourself. And this isn't just a theory. In a landmark study, researchers had one coworker listen to a heartfelt letter of thanks being read to them out loud, all while they were inside a brain scanner. And what they saw was just massive activation in those key well-being networks. The evidence is just undeniable. Receiving is the trigger.
Okay, so this is where it gets really, really practical. We have this amazing scientific insight. So how do we turn it into a tool that we can actually use, anytime we want to get these benefits on demand?
Right, because obviously the big problem here is that you can't just sit around and wait for someone to come give you a genuine, heartfelt thank you every time you need a little mental boost. That's not really a strategy. So scientists came up with a brilliant workaround. And that workaround is story. Our brains are absolute suckers for a good story. We are fundamentally wired for narrative. And it turns out you can borrow that powerful feeling of receiving gratitude just by immersing yourself in a story where someone else gets genuine help or thanks. Your brain's pro-social circuits will light up almost as if it were happening directly to you.
So here it is, the actual 4-step science-backed protocol. Step 1, find a story. It can be a real memory of your own or just a story you've heard that really moves you. Step 2, create a simple cue, just 3 or 4 bullet points that capture the emotional heart of it. 3, just take 1 to 5 minutes to read your cue and really reflect on that feeling. And number 4, and this is so important, repeat. Use the same story over and over. What you're doing is building a neural superhighway, a shortcut that gets you to that positive state faster and faster each time.
So what's the big payoff for doing this simple practice consistently?
It is enormous. We are talking about tangible, measurable changes, not just to your brain, but to your body as well.
Mentally, you are literally changing your brain's default settings. By tipping that seesaw again and again, you actually lower the resting state activity of your fear and anxiety circuits. And at the exact same time, you're strengthening the networks for positive emotion, and, this is huge, for motivation and the desire to pursue goals. You get less anxiety and more drive.
And the effects are not just in your head. This specific practice has been shown to cause profound physiological changes by reducing key markers of inflammation in the body. We're talking about things like TNF-alpha and IL-6, which are directly tied to stress. So, an effective gratitude practice is, quite literally, calming your entire system down at a cellular level.
So we'll end on this thought. The science is solid, the tool is incredibly simple, and the benefits are profound. The only thing left to do is find your story. What narrative, one of your own or one you've heard, holds enough emotional power to become your personal trigger for gratitude? What story will you choose to change your brain?